quick review of some things you'll need for making this dish. Allow yourself at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half, to be ready for the Zoom meeting. You're going to need a rubber spatula, a set of tongs, a large saute pan. This one's about 14 inches. Something for help with draining the tofu. Could be a couple of plates, or a grate like this, like a cookie drying rack, cooling rack. Cutting board, peeler, knife, a strainer or colander, a large bowl for soaking our noodles, and then a platter and something else for the dressing on the side. So set these things up for yourself to make things easier. First off, huge thanks to everybody who volunteered to deliver the food bags today. Inside we got some fresh cilantro and scallions, sesame oil for stir frying our tofu, packaged really well. Hopefully it didn't leak over the course of this trip. We have rice noodles, our stir fry sauce. Keep in mind it's a large recipe. You could cut this in half if you want. Probably making food for 4 to 6 people. 2 pounds of tofu right there, so feel free to cut this recipe in half if you have less people. Some almonds, cornstarch, cucumber, jalapeno pepper, lime, a carrot, and a red bell pepper. So we're going to start with our tofu, and we have to drain the water off of it. So I'm using like a cookie cooling rack or a cake cooling rack. If you don't have something like that, you could probably use a dinner plate upside down with another dinner plate on top of it. Just something that will draw the liquid away from the tofu. And you can see my setup right here. And I will just top it with another pan with some weight on it. And we'll let this drain while we prepare the rest of our ingredients. You're going to need some hot tap water. You don't need to boil water for this, just a nice hot tap water. And we're going to add our rice noodles to this, and we will let them soak for 10 minutes. About 10 minutes. You can actually test them in 10 minutes and taste one and see if it's palatable to you. Make sure they're submerged in water. No dry spots. All right, we're going to prepare our vegetables. We will peel our cucumber and slice it. We're looking for bite-sized pieces here. Nice and thin. Rinse your pepper. I did that off camera there. Take the seeds out. And then again, a nice thin julienne. Something that's going to get caught up in the noodles nice, but isn't more than, a bite. You can slice the jalapeno pepper or dice it if you don't like one big bite at a time. And you can remove the seeds if you want it not as spicy. Let's take our cilantro. Maybe we could save the rest of it for something else, but we're going to chiffonade, really thinly slice the cilantro. And then we'll take our scallions and take the ends off and slice those. Our carrot, flip a clean side of the cutting board here. The carrot, we're going to use a peeler and peel it and discard those peels. And then we're going to use the peeler as the knife here and get really nice ribbons of carrot. And so again, the idea is that when we mix this up with the noodles, it kind of gets entwined in the noodles and you're eating the vegetables at the same time, not just picking them out. Leftover carrot, you can throw it into something else, or if you have nothing else, just slice it down and you can use it up in this dish too. And we'll slice our lime into wedges for the final garnish. Go back to our noodles, and we can drain them off of their warm water. And we will just run them under some cool water. Give them a good rinse. It's really just to stop any cooking process. And once they've cooled, we can actually drain them. Drain them real well. I'm actually going to let them sit for a little while until they've thoroughly drained and they're not sitting in a puddle. We can add them to our platter of garnishes, and we're going to leave a well in the center for the tofu. Just kind of dig yourself a little nest. Put a pan on the heat. Going to preheat this pan. Obviously, pick a pan big enough to fit all your tofu in it. We go back to our tofu and dry it off. I'm using some paper towels here. You could use a lint-free linen cloth, but we want it as dry as we can get it. And then we're going to dice it into bite-sized pieces. You can toss that with the cornstarch that's provided. We go back to our pan. We add our sesame oil. And you will know that your pan is hot enough when the oil starts to do that. It should be shimmering and just kind of having a bit of a movement to it. And you should be smelling a lot of sesame oil and hopefully not smoking. You add your tofu, and at this point we can kind of get it settled in, and then we do not want to stir it. We want to let it sit there, and we want that first side that touched the pan to have a chance to cook and get brown and get crispy. So don't move it, don't stir it. Just let it sit there and continue to get brown. We can unwrap our sauce, and it's probably separated a bit over the course of delivery time, and we'll mix it up again. And we're going to use half of it in the cooking part, and then we're going to use the other half of it with the noodles at the end. So once our tofu is browned on one side, we can give it a flip. Of course, be careful that you're not splashing hot oil on yourself. If it's too hot for you to handle, shut off the heat, move the pan, get longer tongs, put on an oven mitt, whatever it takes to make it through it and not get hurt. Looks good. Take our sauce, make sure it's mixed. We're going to add half of the pan. And again, this is adding a liquid to hot fat, hot oil. So it could splatter a little bit. You could catch on fire a little bit if you're using gas. Just be prepared that you don't get it on you. Let this simmer for about 2 minutes. Of course, make sure it doesn't burn. And you can add a couple things to it now if you want. If you want to throw some of your scallions or some of that fresh cut cilantro to add to this sauce. It will, help up that flavor. The cornstarch on the outside of the tofu is going to help this sauce thicken a little bit also. At this point, we can get ready to put it into our noodles. Just carefully spoon it into the nest you made. You can top it off with some of the almonds that were provided. And then the leftover sauce on the back there we're using as the dressing for over the top of these vegetables and noodles. So when it's time to serve up, everybody can grab a bowl or a plate, whatever works for you. Some tofu, some noodles. Pick your herbs and veggies. Make it as spicy as you'd like, and a little extra dressing over the top. This recipe is really good, hot or cold. I mean, it's kind of a room temperature dish like this, but you can definitely take all the leftovers, toss it together with some more of the dressing, and it is an excellent cold salad. Enjoy.